is left open, RA will very easily just first rotate that Gwen. It has been Cube's standout and go-to pick all split long. Now, in terms of RA, right, you expect the Aphelios to come out in that bottom lane. Maybe just lock in your support pick early on, because Yanja hasn't been someone who's gone too much away from the Nautilus or the Thresh. Lee Sin still being something that is available. We know it's not something that Leyan loves, but the fact that it's there, I feel like even a takeaway from Aki could be quite huge.
True. I mean, both these junglers are the wreck size that they always think about. Things, again, we don't care about Lee Sin, the Jarvan, Zin's out banned, Volibear locked in for Leyan. And we have quite a bit of ice and lightning to open us up, Lyric, a fun mid 2v2 that's going to be everywhere.
Yeah, I think that's the best part about it, right? Is you're coming out with a lot of aggression in terms of your mid jungle. Leyan can find a lot of timings to look to gank mid, even hover, use that realm warp, bring both of you down towards that bottom lane, and try and set iBoy and Yanja up huge. And we get Creme's go-to pick. This is what all the highlights, all the pop-offs run last year. I think it's a champion he's a little bit unmatched on, and we're going to get to see how Strive holds up. Again, when we're hyping Strive so much, I think this is such like a fun matchup to see where he stands, especially coming against Creme, who had the same story last year.
And again, the picks suit what we were talking about. Strive with team fighting, Strive with how he influences the map, Creme in the lane itself, and how that dynamic comes once he hits 6. So opening us up, it's exciting seeing his assassin through the mid lane. But we have to look at the rest here, Lyric, because supports have not been picked up. Something we don't normally talk about here in the LPL, a lot to be banned away.
Yeah, and it looks like RA just trying to take away some of those more defensive peel options out from the bottom lane. I think Nautilus is still the pick Oh, actually, Nautilus taken away in first rotation. I am apparently blind.
That's okay, dude.
Leona, Rakan, kind of these only standard support picks left open. Enchanters are available. Obviously, Yanja was a big Yuumi player. I wouldn't expect Yuumi in this draft, but in terms of, right, if he's comfortable in that, you should assume maybe he'd be willing to bring out things like the Lulu in that bottom side with the Aphelios. Okay. I'm more surprised that RA aren't kind of tangenting up towards a top lane pick, just for the fact that something like the Graves still left open. I feel like when Gwen's gone, that typically is your standard go-to blind pick. Gnar now also joining the equation, but Cube especially has looked a lot more comfortable and proficient when it comes to these more carry-oriented top laners.
And I will also say that we've also seen the flex of his Sion come out as well. So I love, and when I say flex, I mean muscles, guys. The Sion games have been beautiful to watch. So for a top laner for Cube, he has his choice of the litter, but getting an early support when there is none as a response, seems like RA want to go first.
Yeah, for RA, it sets up for you being able to pick up what is the best available engaged support option, but then that opens up for a counter pick being able to come out from OMG. So whether they want to lock in the Alistar, which is kind of what I assume they'll do, considering they do have a lot of all-in potential, or if they want to try to bully this matchup out with an Enchanter support, that's kind of what I was expecting top lane blind pick maybe to come out from RA and just be comfortable with the limited pool to get yourself a support counter pick. But now for OMG, they've already kind of shown their hand. They go with the Kennen, so you assume they're going to want to supplement it with more team fighting, and I think you just lock in the Alistar here rather than going with an Enchanter support to just give yourself more engaged options and set up for the giant slicing Maelstrom coming out from Shanji later on.
I mean, Cold, a bit of a classic here. This player who's been on the OMG roster for as long as there has been dust in the human world. It feels like, you know, it's such a stable point here. On the other side, we talked about top laners going into the Kennen. And for Cube, he still has those options available, but he knows what he's going into in the Kennen itself. Lyric, you mentioned this. This looks pretty suitable.
And, you know, he'll be able to get Prio half push just from the fact that Graves does. The AoE auto attacks coming through. Obviously, True Grit gives you a lot of value against AD champions. Not going to give as much value going against the Kennen, who will have some windows to trade. But I think for the side of RA, we're looking at some early aggression being able to come through. Again, we highlighted the Ryze and the Volibear. Point-and-click stun on Volley, very easy to just find these ganks. You don't even really need a lane setup. You hit level 6, Realm Warp, start looking to find advantages around the map. I would expect for RA that probably will be down towards the bottom side. Once maybe Leyan gives Cube a little bit of love, as we highlighted, but typically I think shutting down Able and Cold is a good strategy against OMG.
But talk to me about OMG's comp, because level 6, a big point for them. And I see objectives and I see angles being played for OMG to get creative.
Yeah, for OMG, I mean, with the fact that they have an Akali, you'd be like, hey, they could typically get some side lane pressure trying to run out through there. But I think the rest of their comp really spells out just trying to go for those 5v5 team fights. Creme coming in on a flank, trying to just be a bit of an annoyance, throw down the Shroud, zone iBoy and company out. Shanji trying to find the massive slicing Maelstrom, and Cold just setting it all up. So a bit of front to back coming out from OMG with the flavors of flank coming out from the assassin in the mid lane.
I like to hear it because for OMG, we're looking towards their mid laner. In fact, mid from both teams. It's a matchup. That's what you do. You look at both of them and you say, Creme's been great in the lane, Strive even better in the team fights. Which one do we get to here? Is OMG and RA really fighting to keep themselves above the water? RA at the moment on a hot win streak of 5 wins in a row. 6-5. They have risen to the surface after being 1-5 only weeks ago. OMG 5-7. At the moment, they are the benchmark to get into the top 10. And if they take a loss here, then it's going to be a really hard task for them to secure one of those final playoff positions. What the hell? Was that BMO? We just got gooed in honey.
Yeah, we did. I mean, when I saw that yesterday, I couldn't stand it. And there it was again, is apparently we're getting more bee skins. I didn't know that. Learned that yesterday. And, you know, bees are adorable. The world needs bees.
That is true.
So, nice of us, as in, not us, Riot Games, to promote bees.
That's true.
Honey's also pretty delicious.
It is, man. You know, I got someone nearby, one of my mum's friends, shout out to her, who gave us her homemade honey. She's got bees in her backyard. So now we've got a huge tub of it as Cube and Shanji just say g'day. This is actually a nice little trade from Cube. He should get a couple of shotguns off, and Electrocute comes down from Shanji. It's about a half HP trade each. So, Lyric, homemade honey, absolutely delicious, better than store-bought. And as we welcome you into the game, where would you like to start this time? Because you did talk a lot about Leyan and how he influences this game.
I think we can start on top real quick just because of that trade coming out.
Go for it.
For the fact that trade definitely benefiting Cube, right? Because having the fleet footwork, having a lot of sustain to be able to get that health back. You already look at Shanji's inventory. He's already blown both of his pots just to get back to full HP. So overall, level 1 trade going heavily in the favor of Cube. And with both junglers pathing towards his top side, could even look to set up a bit of a gank. So top lane, that's what we're going to be looking for RA early on. We hit on how Leyan has been giving more attention to Cube. Even though he doesn't spend like an exorbitant amount of time towards top, it just seems like the old JDG strat to me where Kanavi would visit Zoom once or twice, be like, hey, here's a bit of an advantage. You're going to be fine on your own. I'm going to go play the map elsewhere.
Yeah, it worked out back then, and look, you know, copying and repeating here seems to be a sinister play. OMG getting level 2 in the bottom lane first. Worth mentioning because it's always when we see the aggression come out, but RA paying that respect and pulling back into the lane themselves. And as Leyan goes up to this top side, for now, we're just going to keep watching with bated breath as Cube pushes in, looks to bully out Shanji, and the enemy top laner sitting nice and pretty in case anything happens.
Yeah, so Cube going to just keep pushing in this wave. Should at least set up for a topside scuttle for Leyan. Looks like Aki, though, going to look for the mid lane gank.
Yeah, he is. Strive already so far pushed up. Flash is available, but Aki might have to burn his own at this point. Mid-wave crashes directly where it's supposed to, and we're just camera side up to the top side again.
I wonder... Okay, so there's no wave, so no real availability for Leyan to look for a dive. We'll take the Gromp, but Strive, you're in trouble!
Yeah, he is. Everyone about to go in. Cold jumps first. Ignite there. He burns a flash. For support, that ain't bad, but look at the top side. Leyan about the sky split with the flash bear slap in. First blood over to Cube.
And that's the early game love for Cube that we're talking about. They didn't have a wave on that last push. We see Leyan waited out for one to come back. That's why Cube was going for all that heavy trading we saw earlier. And nice for RA to find an advantage. They did lose mid-flash, like you said, so OMG potentially can try and find a repeat gank opportunity on mid lane, especially since Strive typically wanting to be pushing out that wave. Going to have to play a bit more reserve now. So either ends up in a repeat gank or just gives Creme full ability to push in this wave and look to find ganks and sides.
I mean, Creme getting level 6 as well. That's a threat we want to see. The early lane was getting beaten down with a hammer against him. Because Strive here on this Ryze was bullying out with some really nice trades. But he's run out of mana. And as he tries to push his wave in, Creme sitting steady here for the time being. And Lyric, we open up with a 1k gold lead. RA giving Cube resources. You and I having a bit of a chat, and I'm pretty big on Cube at the moment, considering his last couple of games have been exhilarating.
Yeah, I feel like Cube's just been playing well, and Cube's always been, you know, middle of the pack or even upper middle of the pack, I think, in terms of top lane in the LPL. Yep. Is willing to play weak side or is willing to play with a ton of resources funneled into him, and now seeing more resources put into him once again, especially with this champion pool where it really has been the Graves, the Gwen, and then the Jace, the Jax, these other types of carries. Sure, he's been willing to pull out the Scion or the Gnar or these other picks, but I feel like really has leaned into this heavy carry role, and we get to see here already picking up the Phage, probably making his way towards that Hull Breaker, so he can just keep abusing Shanji in this 1v1 matchup.
Getting pressured under his turret. CS is even though, but the kill is going to make the difference. Waiting for Cube to continue bullying in once he has level 6 as well. He's 300 gold up in that lane. Make it 400 actually. And while RA's top lane is doing well, Leyan pivoting around, looking for an early dragon. Aki on the wing lyric. He wants to steal it away. I'm not sure he's in at the perfect time, but no, he's caught out with his pants. I'm not sure if his pants were down, but his flash definitely is.
Yeah, we'll say, you know what? They were unzipped. You know,
you
had to point it out. It's not the best, but it's also not the worst. Does have to use flash to get out of there. I think that was his idea all along, right? He's blast planting into dragon. You assume there's multiple members there because support's not showing in lane. You think, hey, maybe I get over, I get the steal, flash out, get away. In the end, not able to find it, so RA still controlling the map in the early game. A ton of vision coming out as well, right? You look at bot River completely lit up by RA's wards. Cube having control ward for his lane as well, giving him a bit of safety. So could be quite hard for Aki to be able to find anything in this early game. Typically, you expect Viego to wait for 6 before he's able to find an impact anyway. The burst coming out from both Creme and Shanji in the potential Rift Herald skirmish that we expect to see could set up for those resets to be able to come out, and when our OMG can find a solid foothold back into the game.
But again, key summoners that we're going to look out for in front of that Herald. A double flash down here for Leyan. Strive on the other side. Aki with his own cold now with Hex Flash sitting there. And I think it's going to be important to kind of knock out these items because in a skirmish around this next Herald, I was asking you in draft what OMG looked like. You told me a bit of a front to back, and it feels like the ultimates are going to be massive that are now coming up despite not having their own flash.
Yeah, I think in terms of just an outright skirmish, you know, 3 members entering the same time as the other 3 members, OMG should feel pretty good. They have the AoE damage coming from the Slicing Maelstrom. Again, they have a ton of bursts to just set up for Aki to get those resets. For RA, I think typically you'll want to lean to one lane first since you have the point and clicks you see on Volibear. Try and burst out one member and then turn to the rest of the fight. So I think it's going to be a little bit different in terms of how stylistically these teams want to play it out.
Moving over now, 7:15. We've got 45 seconds till the Herald spawns. Aki in River. Leyan the same level as him, but he has a camp advantage. Scuttle, not sure if that's going to push him over the line to 6, but we're going to find out in a second. Am I right, Lyric? Let's find out. Oh, okay.
Ooh,
okay.
There we go.
That was a guess, an absolute guess with no information.
This is why it's nice when it's back on days you cast when you're not traveling the world of League of Legends. Oh, Cold goes in.
He goes for a bit of a journey, actually. It is Creme who pops himself in as well. Perfect execution with the second slash. It's out of there. And now that Cold once again pivots, looks like OMG have to back away with empty hands.
Yeah, really sad as well because Strive's flash is just about to come up. Could have been the perfect opportunity to capitalize on that summoner that you'd blown earlier. Still nice by OMG to utilize the window, knowing it's still down to try to find the kill. But now, again, I think we're going to be looking up towards this top side with the fact that Rift Herald is back up. Cube is the one that has pressure, so RA theoretically should be the ones in control over what happens with that Herald. Right now, it looks like RA's bot lane is playing quite aggressively, though, and just committing down to this bot side 2v2.
I mean, it's aggressive top, it's aggressive bot. There's control of vision in the bot side as well through River. So Aki's not getting through that way, but he's already behind their own little turret. RA continue pushing up here, forcing Abel and Cole to take a step back. Just note that RA in this early game are having a great time. Still a 1k gold lead. The opening in top is there. And Leyan gonna ignore bot for the time being and continue heading towards the what animal is Herald? Purple ape.
I feel like maybe a purple orangutan would be better. Obviously, you know, it's far out. It's more of like a giant crab-like creature, but for Aki, I'm kind of surprised he didn't just outright try to skip his Krugs and set up for an opportunity to look bot. Maybe assuming that Leyan's still hovering around, right? Because for OMG side, they don't have any deep vision into RA's jungle, and even just bot lane vision in general. It was 2 control wards down on that side for RA rather than OMG. So OMG paying a bit of respect. Now resets coming out. RA are going to make their way up towards the top side. At least their bot lane now moving through mid. So I would expect Leyan to be starting up this Herald. Now we're going to see the response from OMG Abel. Still in the bottom lane. Looks like they will just opt into potentially trading for plates.
I mean, you can see that iBoy was thinking about moving to the mid lane, but he's going to as well position back towards bot. Yuyanjia making the move. And even Aki backing away, giving it up completely. Herald will go to RA here. I like that Creme and Cold are still making the movement, so RA feeling threatened enough, but it is just a bit of a fake for now, it seems. Lyric with a huge question mark. Okay, stays a fake.
So I think maybe iBoy thought, hey, I still need to hover up just in case other members appear because Abel's not pushing this lane in and not trying to hit turret. Did end up losing some CS to that, but still RA overall able to pick up the Herald. We do see, because of that though, iBoy being one wave behind. So for OMG, I mean, they're still not too far behind, right? And we hit on for their composition, I really think it comes together in pure 5v5 settings. Yep. To where for RA, it is more about the 3v3s or the 2v2s. Now both teams angling to fight, though.
And they're already in river. I mean, Strive not going to walk this one out. Yuyanjia caught out a little bit as Cold sets up with the headbutt pulverized. Creme's ulti is back up and available. And in the 3v3s, RA have got it for now. And it's Leyan in front of Aki that takes it away. The bear on all fours running out of there. And iBoy, meanwhile, look at this. With Abel, the ulti, a bit of a swing and miss. But at the very least, the effort is there.
Still able to heavily outtrade him, force him from being able to walk in river. And I mean, Leyan just with the better smite, making sure that they get the objective. So RA, overall having a pretty clean game so far. We've seen them make the moves we wanted to see them make, right? We saw the early gank towards topside come through. We've seen just overall really good objective control. And a lot of it stemming from those strong laners that you were hitting on, right? We've seen control on topside, we've seen control bot. Sure, they haven't really amounted to CS advantages, but it's just been like, hey, we're able to get pressure in these lanes. Let's turn into river, keep up this vision control, and then just waiting for the timers of a dragon or a Rift Herald to look to go in and use the pressure that you've been guaranteed, rather than trying to flip for any kind of 2v2 kills or 1v1s.
It's kind of showing cleanliness from RA. You and I talking in an opening segment about, well, how great Strive's looking for RA, like Leyan liking to gank top. We'll tick that one off as Yuyanjia almost stops back from Creme. And then their team fighting, we're kind of looking for that last one to come through. And for RA, not giving anything away in this early game to OMG. They have Dragon stacking. They've still got a Rift Herald. They have a mid lane with 10 CS advantage. They have Cube, who has the kill advantage and the item advantage with the whole break complete. This is a team that has shaped up really nicely and kind of returned to that RA form we've known in the past as Lyric. Are you ready?
Aki's here. This is a 2v2.
Okay, Slicing Maelstrom is the flash, and I was just talking about the cleanliness. Leyan is going to get out of there. Herald still drops down, but it's in swiping mode. The mini wave stops it, and Aki with a really big brain play.
Absolutely tragic coming out for Leyan. But like you said, good read from Aki, right? He looks at his lane states, looks at the map, knows that they have Rift Herald, sees the top turret is down, and expects that there's only one place for Leyan to go, comes up, and does answer with the counter gank. You know, if Leyan would have just walked up through lane and set up the Herald as Creme.
Okay, maybe overhyping this. Doesn't do enough damage, even with the Proto Belt, surprisingly enough. But we kind of remember that Strive is a Ryze and has a lot of HP.
Has HP, right? Has the Merc Treads as well for a bit of MR. Phase Rush helping him massively in that moment as you saw him getting that speed boost, being able to get even closer to turret, which makes Creme hesitate and think, you know, I'm not going to go for a turret dive right now. Leyan also very close by. He at least would know Leyan should be coming back out either from base or at least making his way down from topside. So overall, I think the controlled decision-making from Creme to not follow that through was good.
Yep.
And now we just default back to standard laning, which is where it has been a strong point for RA. I feel like especially in the top side is where we're going to see this advantage come to fruition. Able to guarantee another plate and working his way on the next one. Only is about 10 seconds left on it, so I'm not sure if he'll be able to get it, but has already gotten a ton of gold so far, sitting 1K gold up in this top lane matchup.
Yeah, I mean, people will be looking at the CS advantage and maybe just a kill and think, oh, it's nothing, but that tells its own story as Teleport gets unleashed. Plating drops down. And Shanji is paying so much respect to Cube as well. Trade's not going too much in his favor as he backs away. And as Cube kind of backs here, Lyric, you know, let's come back to it again. We haven't seen Strive's ulti come through just yet. We haven't seen any influence on this side lane. Strive has been very passive so far, moving around with Leyan and I guess Yuyanjia. I'm kind of curious to see this one in action, especially as Cube gets towards his second item.
Especially with the fact that top lane turret is so low, I wouldn't be surprised to see RA at least start leaning towards top side, allow him to break that one down, and then just put even further pressure on the side of OMG, pushing another top side jungle, getting vision down. And for Strive, I mean, you don't have to fully commit your Realm Warp, right? As long as he's leaning up towards that top side when Leyan is making his way up there as well, that might be enough pressure for them to be able to get it. If Shanji overextends, you have the Realm Warp to set up a play and just catch him off guard. So that's what we're looking at, them leaning up towards that top side, setting that one up. That play might come after Dragon, as that one will be up in 44 seconds. But look at Leyan on the minimap. He's making his way up towards that top side right now.
As pings go down, a bit of a threat from Aki in the meantime. With the miss coming through, Cube thought he was in a bit of trouble, but the control ward's still there. And with Leyan hovering up that turret at a couple autos away, Shanji's going to have to outplay this really well.
And Shanji just going to back out of there right now. He knows other members are hovering over, right? Cube even walking up to this wave right in front of turret to get this one pushed in. So nice read from Shanji not be able to go down. And as a response, Shanji is making his way down towards the mid lane. OMG, I think, a nice response to be like, hey, we can't answer on the top side, so let's get some semblance of bot side control going so we can try and take this straight. They're going to have to at least make their way back up now to make sure they don't give over a tier 2 to Cube and Leyan for free.
I mean, off camera, we were just watching Shanji getting bullied around or threatened by Leyan. So, yeah, this top laner completely forced out. He returns to his top lane turret, but the inner at half HP, Cold even making the movement. All for Dragon here. OMG finally on the board. It cost them so much pressure up in the top side, Lyric. At the very least, a trade is a trade, and RA not falling, OMG not falling by the wayside too much in this early game.
And one nice thing about that play as well for RA is the fact that they already have vision control set up on top side since they were leaning for that Herald play as compared to OMG, who just started to pivot all their wards down to bot since they were going for the cross map play. So RA having a bit of a vision advantage in terms of OMG having to walk in a little bit blind. Can just walk into an engage coming out from Yuyanja or Leyan, but RA look very hesitant, trying to set up their wave states first as you see RA's Cube pivoting back towards topside. For OMG, though, Hysterics, we talked about the 5v5s is where they really can come online. If Shanji can find a massive slice of Maelstrom that's maybe set up by Cold, OMG can get back that 2k gold deficit, but they don't get it! RA, don't give in!
What a shame.
Where's the action?
17 minutes in, dude. 17 minutes in. Well.
And you know, I gotta say, it is a good call by RA, right? Because they feel that same pressure coming out. They're like, hey, we already have a gold advantage. We can just keep this going on the opposite side of the map, get some damage done on this turret. So, good move by them. Maybe not the most exciting move in terms of just pure blood for the blood god, but overall, good call by RA.
Hey, Lyric, just while we're slow, I'll just bring you in. Come in a little bit closer. I'm going to tell you something.
Okay, all right. Yeah.
Had really good news the other day. And, you know, it came about, actually, it was about a week and a half ago. And as Shanji's in the bush here, I might have to ramp it up a bit. Hang on. Slicing Maelstrom, Hole Breaker. I'll tell you the story after this. Because Aki has a way over, and he finally hits Cube. It's responded with a flash, and Cube's buying his time. My stream completely froze.
Oh, he's going to get away. He's going to get away.
And he's going to get away with the double blast card. Shanji almost going down in the process. A little bit too close as Cube almost makes the outplay.
I mean, seriously, that was pretty clean with all of his movement, right? Holds the flash for so long, waits, makes Aki commit is. Got 2 summoners for that. RA are also answering on the opposite side of the map, so they come out ahead in terms of objectives and gold. Still nice by OMG to find a kill when they haven't been able to find any avenue into this game, so something better than nothing, but RA still in position to respond.
And trying to ramp up in the bottom side. Aki now spotted out with a cheeky ward. Yuyanja spotting the cross, but quickly de-visioned out as Leyan still deep enough in this. They got to respect Creme with the 1 item. They pull back. It is just RA now getting some of that vision that they were, I guess, seeking out. And we go back to some normalities. So, Lyric, while we have a bit of a lull,
okay, bring it back in.
Come back. The reason I was bringing you in here, because there was really good news. And, you know, it might not be important for other people, but maybe there's other Aussies in the chat. And I got this really good news that not only am I allowed to leave my country again and go traveling, but also we can have tourists back in. So, I just want to say, you know, life's feeling pretty good again. I'm traveling. Imagine traveling. 2022.
Hey, it's been a year since I've seen you in person, so now the dynamic duo
We should
can
do
finally
something.
come back together.
We should do something, dude. I don't know. Let's talk about that afterwards. We'll see how we go. Being down here, you know, in the boonies, in I'm gonna call Australia the boonies. We're literally, we may as well be on Mars sometimes. Honestly, to fly anywhere takes at least 10 hours.
I mean, right, there is that whole theory that your country doesn't even exist. There's a book out about it. I think it's a bit of a meme, but that you just like kind of fly around like the UK for a few hours, bring you to some random obscure island, and it's just a prison. That theory does exist. That's a real thing.
That's I'm not too surprised, honestly. People don't believe in Australia because it takes so long to get here, so they're like, it's baloney. And I honestly, if I didn't live here, maybe I would believe it because this place, it's hard to believe. Australia's great in its own way. I'm gonna get off to the biggest tangent of my life, but
I was gonna say,
we're like,
we did just see RA, you know, nicely again, keeping up the aggression, stealing away Raptors from the side of OMG,
True.
and even now,
let's
kind
fight.
of angling to see if they can find a bit of an engage.
Let's beef it up because I'm ready. Because you already talked about RA in specific numbers, but also, you know, seeing what this Graves can do at a side lane while they keep OMG at bay. I want to see this front to back, where Creme gets in, Shanji as well leaves that lane that has now lost another turret. Dragon's going to spawn and lead up to Salt Point as we take you out of the Whispering mode. Keep in mind that Shanji's TP flank could be everything. We get one beginning.
Yeah, they don't have any good... Actually, they do have that one ward right next to Gromp. Even Creme angling around there now. They can set up for a really good flank coming up from the Kennen.
But it might be a little bit late. Leyan needs to get the smite down. He does, but Cold! A three-man pulverize while Creme goes right into the middle, but he's being blasted out. Cube's damage immense. iBoy out with the spacing, and RA, I guess their front to back just works out nicer in the end. Abel blasted down, and Lyric, it's an absolute wash against OMG.
Yeah, and that fight was going on a bit on two fronts, right? I think we saw Strive zoning out Shanji's TP on the opposite side, so we couldn't get in there and find that slicing Maelstrom. And then Cold finding a huge engage, but it still wasn't enough. I believe Yuyanja and Leyan able to turn, lock down the other members. A pretty good Moonlight Vigil from iBoy. And now it's Baron time for Rare Adam.
Okay, well, this is definitely a fall from 0 to 100. Strive will also open up the mid lane turret. Cube is stuck on bottom. That's 300 gold plus the Baron plus the potential of that bottom lane turret. About 8,000 gold suddenly at 22 minutes in the game. Lyric, replay time, you're up.
Yeah, so we're going to see Strive playing off to the side. Again, Kennen coming on the TP flank. Strive locks him down. So this is effectively a 4v4 on the opposite side, but you don't have that massive AoE coming through. iBoy, crucially, not getting CC down when the Alistar engaged. So massive Moonlight Vigil hitting onto, I believe it was 3 members. And then RA's comp having a very easy time to turn. But again, Leyan just having that point-and-click stun, pretty much blowing up the side of OMG. And if for RA, right? I mean, just keeping up the momentum that we've seen in their past few series. Heck, they're on a 5-series win streak.
That's right. They're 1-5. Only a couple of weeks ago. RA in such a great position. Not only in the LPL right now, but in this game. It's a must-win against OMG for the series. And even setting it up with a 2-0 or 2-1 gives them many ample opportunities to look towards securing a playoff spot. Lyric,
also,
what do you see?
I just noticed that Leyan went for Divine Sunder this game, right? Typically, we do see Turbo Chemtane come out on Volibear in the jungle, but Leyan opting to be the carry, opting to have more damage against the opposing side. I don't think it's too surprising knowing Leyan's playstyle. Heck, I think that was one of the reasons why Leyan struggled with so many rosters was, you know, he did play for himself to find an advantage to get ahead. Has swapped it up on RA. I think he is a lot more versatile. And honestly, probably the best, most consistent player on RA this year. Seriously, watching Leyan pretty much gap so many other junglers in the LPL has just been a treat to watch.
Yeah, especially when, you know, there was some time on RA where he was so middling. I feel like his time on IG as well was very developmental. So this is a split where he's coming to his own. And remember that this is a jungle that went to Worlds covered for Ning as Realm Warp used aggressively through the mid lane. Leyan, the devil we're speaking about, with 2 items running people down. OMG paying the respect here. As Cold goes in for the engage, not sure that's going to work. Unbreakable will it block enough? Cube's in the middle though. This could work out as Creme's the next target. Shanji with a one-man slicing Maelstrom, but iBoy's ulti's massive and Strive's on the flank. Leyan's ulti pretty rubbish, but maybe it doesn't matter with a huge question mark as Abel Still free firing until Strive runs up to him. They need Yu Yanjia's help, and as messy as it was, Rare Adams still conquer.
Yeah, RA now, they only have one member to worry about on the opposing side. It is Creme, but still 4-man strong. RA should be able to push for the end.
Doesn't have the ulti available. Teleport's going to be burned from Strive. He has to teleport to get back in. Excuse me, I should have said the back, but you know what I mean, chat. OMG now on their last defense. Creme with a shuriken flip. He ain't going to take it. One Nexus turret dropping down. Creme still trying to delay. At least Cole's going to be with him when it dies, but iBoy in front of the Nexus now turns his sights over to the support. OMG, as he goes golden, it is just the Nexus play fair. Rare Adam continue keeping hot.
And when this is a matchup against our current 9th and 10th place teams, this match is so crucial to be able to guarantee that playoff spot. Heck, even TT kind of watching sweating bullets. Maybe not as much after this first game because if RA win, technically TT are still not eliminated. But yeah, point is, a lot of people cheering for RA right now. And RA, I think, had a very methodical, clean game. We saw in the early game, they did everything they had to. They got their top laner ahead. Cube was just bullying on that matchup. Their bot lane 2v2 was faring just fine. And they were making the map trades when they realized they couldn't win out, right? The second Rift Herald going for those plays on bot side. Overall, the team fighting still there, I think, is one of RA's biggest strengths, as we saw in that one fight around Dragon. Strive taking the Kennen out of the fight completely, and the other members able to win on that 4v4. So I think huge game across the board. RA right now as a unit just works so well together.
And they really do. And, you know, I was toggling through back to my notes, stopped to chat towards the end of that game. And, you know, someone mentioning that RA play like a top-tier team. Shout out to that lad over there. RA at the moment are on such a big hot streak. Yes, they're only 6-5, but remember they were sitting 1-5. If you didn't look at RA's story, it was a big opener against top esports, but then they had to verse LNG, V5, BLG. You know, IG they lost against as well. Anyone's Legend beat them. So RA have had a really rough time until they got to LGD. Started bringing it all back, and you can see that the improvement in this squad is laid bare. Strive with another really great consistent game. Leyan on his jungle didn't really have to lift a finger to beat out Arky.
No, I mean, it was just, again, overall just coordinated like map movements that won RA this game. Cube got a ton of solo time up against Shanji in that top side, which is why his damage numbers are so high. I think Strive, we saw just amazing team fighting once again. iBoy hitting the Moonlight Vigils, but it was really the team play that set everything up and just the way they were able to pull OMG on the map. Their vision control, they pretty much had the map lit up throughout the whole game. So they were working with full information. Now we're going to see if they can do it again going into game 2 or if OMG can mount a bit of a comeback.
Well, you got to see, because for OMG, again, such an important series. They lose this. It's a struggle for them to catch on up to that top 10.